Oops. Now, can you hear me okay out there? I see I've got Road King and Miyagi there. Oh, all right. Can everybody hear me out there okay? Hopefully, I'm on. All right. Looks like we've got Road King, Tony Whitley, Ann Dunlap, John Cook. How you doing there, John? Sherry Corn. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about today, and you could probably tell by the title. See Momo's there. Let's see, Demon Cat, Stacy. Glad you're all there. Uh, Carol. All right. Some of you that seen my video I put up yesterday, and I had talked about that stalking video that was up there, and I don't think there's any doubt that it was a stalking video. I mean, you can tell they were hiding behind a column, a brick column, and I just kind of threw it up there. I want people to see what John and Michelle are having to put up with. You know, when you can't go home from work and grab a meal on the way home without somebody shooting it up and throwing it on a channel, and then it's shown on other channels. And to me, that's stalking. And there's a fine line between stalking and harassment and our First Amendment for the freedom of speech and press and the whole works. And if we can't find that difference, we're liable to lose them all. Quite frankly, right now, there are a lot of lawsuits over this exact same type of harassment. And of course, a lot of them are famous people out there that are being followed and harassed. And they're winning their lawsuits, multi-million-dollar lawsuits. But in this case, it's not as much. Well, I was going to say it's not as much money. It is for one. One of them is making plenty of money. The rest of them, these minions, as I call them, are out there just playing a silly game. And sometimes it gets to the point where what can you do about it? And sometimes you have to fight fire with fire, quite frankly. You can do the same thing. Take pictures of the people that are doing it to you, put it on the YouTube. Go ahead and put it on there and say, look, this person was taking my picture. Do you know who they are? Tell them where it happened. Let them know that these people are taking pictures of you and they're putting them out here for everybody to see. Your private life is being shown out here, right? And I don't know how many of you appreciate that or not, but what if you're in somebody's shoes like John and Michelle? For the last year and a half to 2 years, because of a dispute they have with Jeremy, they've been threatened with about everything. Lawsuits. Their privacy is completely gone. The fence didn't help a whole lot because Jeremy chooses to put a camera up over the top of the fence. And I don't know, John, since you're in there, I just got a question for you. And by the way, I don't want anybody in here to act as a third party for John and Michelle. Don't get them in trouble by using them as a third party. Okay? Don't say that they sent you somewhere. It's me. I'm doing it. They had no idea I was going to be on here today or what I was going to talk about other than the title on here. But John, one thing I would ask you is the property next to yours belongs to somebody named Gail, is my understanding. Is there a camera looking at your property from there? And what is Gail's last name? All right. Maybe some of you in the chat know, but it's just I'm just curious. That's all. And also today I had somebody on here that uses the name of Kenneth from Chiefland, and he has made different remarks different times trying to have leading questions, but his intent is very clear, and that is, to me, he's a Kool-Aid drinker. And actually, I don't think his name is Kenneth. I think the father's name was Kenneth. I don't know if it's a he. There's actually another name on there that I put on the remark that I had back. And I'll run it down for you because I'll bring that up on my. I have another computer sitting right here beside me. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is. So that way I can look at it and you're seeing it live like it is on there. I'm not making it up. I'm not making things on here. I just want you to know what it is. You said Gail lives across the street, one property to the left. Is there a camera there, John? Does it look at your property? The reason I'm asking, if there is a camera there and it's looking directly at your property, since Florida is a two-party state, anything that would come off that property and be posted on here in any way is against the law. So, but I just wanted to know for my own, and I didn't know for sure what Gail's last name was. I was wondering, I've seen a lot of remarks from somebody named Gail on Willis and also Jeremy's videos, and I'm just wondering where that is. Okay, the cameras just protect her property? Okay. That's good enough. What do you say there, Timothy? I see you're in here. Oh, let's see. Surname. Yeah, I knew that Lamb was the surname. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? No, that's not true, Mama. You cannot video another person's property without the other person's permission. I know you're thinking that it has to be audio, but it does not have to be audio. Just plain, if somebody is purposely getting into your yard with a camera, that is against the law if it is used for any other purpose than what you just stated as being for security. Yes, it is terrible to have to add your fence because of a creeper. See Deborah Fox on here, bearded fisherman, concerned planet. Anyway, the reason it upset me is because this kind of treatment that's been going on to John and Michelle has been going on for too long. And when is enough enough? And when are people out there in Otter Creek going to be putting a stop to a problem like this? As far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, if somebody's going to take pictures of me, I guarantee you I'm going to make sure I have a camera so I can do the same thing. Now, as far as John and Michelle, they have to be very careful about what they're doing. But that doesn't mean the other citizens out there in Otter Creek can't take a camera. And every time you see somebody that's been doing this stuff to somebody else, taking these pictures, take a picture of them and get them put up on YouTube. That's fighting fire with fire. If a person is doing that to the citizens of your town, there's no reason whatsoever that you can't do the same thing. Do it from public access. Make sure it's legal when you do it. But do it. That way everybody can see who is doing this to other people. When you have people harassing and completely obliterating what the First Amendment is, the only way you're going to be able to save it is fire with fire. That means a picture to picture, a video and a video. That's how it works. So just because you're in that town, you don't have to be scared of somebody. And once you fight back, and I'm not saying fight literally, I'm saying use the same tools, the same equipment, and do the same thing. Don't be afraid. Don't sit back in the backyard for privacy. It's about time you people gained your front yard again. It's time that you gained your streets again. Do you realize that John and Michelle cannot walk down the streets in Otter Creek? They pay taxes, and yet they cannot utilize the street because a PO says they have to be 500 feet away from Jeremy Hills. Now, I don't think it's very fair, but 500 feet is what was put on there by an Ohio judge. This is a judge in another state that's never met Michelle, never met John. They've never been in a courtroom other than on one of these boob tubes here, okay? So we're talking about lopsided justice at the very least. Now, how many of you think this has been fair all along? Regardless of what you think of anybody, is it fair to do this kind of thing and bend the law to the extent that it's being bent today in Otter Creek and now over in Chiefland? We're talking about somebody that cannot buy groceries. They can't go to the post office. They cannot fill the gas up on their vehicle. They cannot walk down the streets where they've been a legal resident for the last, 3 or 4 years, 4 years or somewhere around that. They pay taxes there. And yet, a judge in another state took that right away from them just by putting 500 feet limitation because of somebody got a PO on them that is a snowbird. Now, this snowbird spends 6 months out of the year in Otter Creek. You have a citizen that lives in Otter Creek called John and Michelle. They live there 12 months out of the year. And the only time they have any freedom, like the rest of us do, is when Jeremy is up there in Ohio. Do you think it's time something is done about this? Do you? I mean, let me know. Let's put it in here. Do you think it's time that John and Michelle got some freedom back so that they can walk in their own city, their own town, their own village, that they can go to the grocery store without being attacked? Tell me, is it a yes or no in here? I'll tell you, right now, I think I have 100% that says it's time that this come to a stop. Now, I wouldn't have put this up here today and go live if I didn't think it was important. And I am a full believer in our First Amendment. And we stand a good chance of losing that First Amendment because of stupid things that are going on YouTube today. And I don't know if you've noticed it, how many movie stars are fighting back against instances similar to this, and they're winning millions of dollars in court. It's only a matter of time before legislation comes along and slaps a heavy, heavy load on everybody's right to utilize something that we could have been using for good. This is one of the best things that we can use back and forth to talk to each other, but we've got to keep it within the society norms and what's good for all of us and not use it as a weapon. And this thing is being used as a weapon. And they're getting away from it because, let's face it, money talks and bullshit walks. And if you don't have money in your pocket, the scales of justice are bent completely against you. You don't stand a chance in court without a lawyer. So I think whatever it takes. And I'm not talking about physically doing something like absolutely do not attack. What I'm saying is put a camera in your pocket. Make it a cheap one. It don't have to be an expensive one. Just make sure you can take a video. Most of you have phones that can take a video. Make sure you know how to use it. And in a heartbeat, grab that thing out and start taking videos every time you see somebody on the street that is doing stuff like this, that is harassing some citizen in your town, okay? If you remember back a few years ago, they were picking on a young man named Thomas Collins. And he has kept his cool the whole time. And he didn't have to ride the shirt tails of Jeremy. His channel is building every month, every week. He's gaining people on his channel, and he doesn't even mention that guy's name. And they still are out there threatening to sue him. He lives just down the street from the city. I mean, he was raised there. I mean, he spent over 10 years there as a young fella. And he just lives just down the road. He's as interested there as anybody. He's got a lot of friends there. You know what gets me? This Radis, okay, that's getting away with his stuff in that little town, and people have accepted him. This guy volunteered to the city during their festival to use his DJ services. Now, he calls himself Tat Grievous. I'd like to read you something that I have on my computer. Okay? In Australia, there's a YouTube called Creative Minds. It says Tattoo Grieves. And I'm going to read you the description on this thing for this channel. Greaves is a Sydney-based mixed media tattoo artist. His inspirations and muses are many and varied. He is also a priest for UAOS and runs the Sydney and Australian chapters of atheistic Satanism. Now, I don't know if this is one and the same of DJ Radis that is there in your little burg. But he took the name, that name that's here, and also when I look back at here, some of the pictures look pretty close to the ones that he posts on his DJ Radis channel. So if you want to look at this channel, okay, it's on here. It says Creative Minds, GBH Creations. Any of you want to compare this and read what it says on there, and then look at this guy and tell me if you trust him. This guy, it hasn't been that long ago when Collins came out of the meeting and he's out there, and this guy, Shrinking Violet, if you want to call it, puts his flashlight on flash to put it in his eyes when Thomas walked over to talk to him. Thomas didn't raise his fist, didn't make any such things at all. And as soon as somebody had yelled at Thomas, and Thomas turns his head, this guy hot foots it out of there and jumps in his car and runs off. Now he goes to a meeting just last week on Tuesday, or no, was it Wednesday, I think. I think they postponed it a day, or whatever it was anyway. And he's bragging that Thomas didn't come there. He must have been scared of him. Now this guy comes there, and he's got a crutch and says that he's prepared, hinting that he's got something that he can use if somebody accosts him. This guy that bragged about being a combat specialist. Yeah. It's funny he bragged, and there's nobody there to brag to. You see, the guy that that he was insinuating that might attack him. He's calling him scared of him because he didn't show up at that meeting. Thomas has other things to do other than attend meetings. And he didn't go there to attack this guy in the first place. This guy took it in his mind because, you know why? He was talking about Thomas all this time, making videos about him, calling him names. And he expects, when he looked at this guy, it scared the dog shit out of him. He thinks, oh, no, now look what happens. I've got to face this guy down. And then when he don't show up next time, the guy's scared of him. Now, we know different. And we're not trying to push anything about two guys fighting with each other. That'd be just bullshit. But what I'm trying to tell you is this guy is a bullshitter. But on this thing here, he took the name, if that's not him, he took the name of a Satanist from Australia. And this guy is from Australia. Funny thing is, it seemed to have there's a big blank of when the guy was active there and when he became active again. This is a guy that apparently came to this country, got married, and has a family out there somewhere, who knows where, apparently got a divorce. He hasn't been here all that long. And when long ago, he said something about his visa was getting short, and then all of a sudden he's saying, well, he's got a job, and now his visa is renewed, and he's good for another few years. This guy, that scares me. Now, if he has anything to do with this channel, okay, it's a Satanist channel. Remember the other day when I said that this same person wrote a song out there about the angel of death visiting the Prestons? Remember that? And he claimed he didn't know that that's what that was. If he has anything to do with that channel, he knew very well what it was when he made the song. Now, he took that down. I looked to see if he put that thing down from the harassing them at the restaurant. I don't see it up right now. Maybe you guys do, but I don't. Yeah, it says here, Stacy said, after the divorce in Ohio, he followed JH down to OC and is now doing JH stalking for him. It's sick and disturbing. Yes, what happens if we start taking pictures of him every time he's in town and post it? I mean, he's doing this to John and Michelle. Don't go asking John and Michelle about this. We're not going to be involved in a third party until that PO is gone. These are things that you have to stand up. When you protect a citizen of your town, your county, your state, when you're protecting our Constitution, and you have people that are scum trying to ruin your right to life, do not be afraid to use the same tools they do, as long as you do it from a legal aspect. We have a right to know where this scumbag is, and that's my opinion that what he is, okay? My opinion. It doesn't have to be yours. But we, as citizens, have a right to know where this guy is. I'm looking at this. This scares the heck out of me. Let me see if I can bring this down a little bit and show you a little. I'm just going to show you the front on there. That's what it's going to look like when you say creative minds and then in parentheses, GBH Tat 2 Graves, GREAVES, GBH Creations. Okay? He's got 204 subscribers on there. But if you want somebody like that following you around taking pictures, And I want you to think about this. All John and Michelle were trying to do, they're trying to remodel and fix that booth out there at the flea market. All they're doing is on their way home stopping to get a meal, prepared meal, so they can take it home and eat it. And they cannot do that in peace without looking over their shoulder at somebody hiding behind a column. Now, don't tell me it's a First Amendment, somebody doing that, because there's no way you could convince me of that. My opinion says if you're behind a column hiding, taking pictures of somebody, that's stalking. So, number two, since that place is a strip mall of some kind, I'm going to tell you a little secret. Even though it's open to public, it's still private property. It wasn't from the sidewalk. It was not from the street that was taken. It was from the parking lot. The sidewalk up next to the store. Not maintained by the city. Maintained by an owner of that property. Think about that. I tell you, every time I think about it, I'm more and more disgusted. And I know sometimes people's opinion don't mean much. And I removed, I don't know how many off that last video because they acted stupid on my channel. People can come in there, but they've got to act like they have some resemblance of intelligence. This Kenneth that I give the big lecture back on there, he's still on there. Go ahead and look at this. I got to laugh because as old as I am, this person, whoever the hell it is no match on intelligence. I could sit there and debate with this asshole all day without a problem. And I can hold my own with about anybody yet as far as being mouthy. And I don't take a whole lot of crap. And I'm certainly not going to take it from those people over there that are following John and Michelle around. When they get on my channel and the people that follow them and start attacking me, believe me, they're going to get it right back. I will not, absolutely not stand up with them assholes. They're lucky I'm not 40 years old like I was, 40 years ago. And the only thing I can tell you, at 80 years old, don't get close enough to go nose to nose with me. Don't do that. It'd be a hell of a mistake. Says the parking lots are part of the mall and city. The city rarely owns the parking lot around a strip mall. And you can tell if you go to your Google map and look at it, you'll see who owns it. You can snap on it. I don't actually, I tell you the truth, I only know of one or two malls where the city actually owns a parking lot. And the city would just soon not have the parking lot because they don't want the liability of them. I'm just telling you, most of the time they're private. So you want to check that. It makes a difference. All right, let's see what I got in here. Just for the heck of it. I don't want to get wound up too far because I'll trip over my tongue. It's not quite as long as our guy that loves to look and watch our channels and make remarks, but it's getting old and floppy. All right, what you got? Well, by golly, there's Thomas is on here. How you doing, Thomas? Dory, it looks like you better go film for yourself, as it looks like. I budget for 1 or 2 good takeout meals a month as a treat. We deserve at least that. I can't understand why he didn't come up to my Jeep and film me and say hi. I'm with you. Absolutely. I'm going to tell you something. The son of a bitch is a coward. That's why. That's my opinion. And if he's what I'm thinking, if he's part of this YouTube channel over here, he goes against everything that I stand for. That would upset me more than anything. I cannot stand that type of person. Absolutely can't. My opinion counts for me and my family. Says maybe the FBI can do something. Doesn't seem like anyone in Florida knows their job title. I don't think it's just a fault of Florida. You know, one of the first things that happened to that poor little town, somebody comes in and attacks the neighbor right off the bat. And it was content. Immediately, it starts shooting up people watching the channel. Now, we're talking about people that have been there for generations that are having to take this kind of stuff. And how do you fight back? Because you're looking at somebody that obviously has more money than you do, right? Obviously he does. Funny thing is, there's 100 people there. And he claims that most of them have been his friend. And then he claims, well, only about 10. And then he goes right back to most of them are his friends. And I don't know what the truth is. I don't know how many people he's got for friends there. I know that at least everybody that lives on the street corner can't be his friend because he has said the people on street corner, they feel they deal with illicit things that would be considered medications. Illicit. They're against the law. He said that's on every street corner in Otter Creek. All right, so how many homes do we have in a block out there? I mean, I don't know. Well, I certainly wouldn't want to live on a street corner because anybody coming to town is going to say, "Look at that guy. He's a dealer." But that's what's out there for everybody to see. What if it was safer? Now that I think about it, there's a piece of property where you can't see the house there in town. And what kind of things could you do back on that property? I mean, I'm just thinking, outside the box. My opinion. What would that be used for? Huh. There's another thing I noticed. Some people, when they get into these lockers, do you ever notice how many people say, "Oh, this belonged to a drug dealer. Look at this." I'm 80 years old, and a lot of those things I've never seen. Now, I couldn't tell you if they were used for illicit things or not. But I even seen one guy there. He had something that I'm sure wasn't meant to be put up there like a mic. And I know he's not naive. I know he had a purpose when he put it up there. Now, some might say he was singing. And we all know he can't sing very well. But there might be something else he was singing about because he talks about it a lot. That's my opinion, obviously, again, right? I mean, what the heck? We might as well make a little bit of comedic talk out of this thing, right? But we don't even get mean about it. I mean, it is what it is. If a person walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's got to be a duck. I mean, haven't you all heard that before? I mean, I have. Oh, Lord. I know we could all have fun out of this. We could all talk about this anytime we want. We all have anybody that's on here has a ability to put this up, just like I am right now. See this? Shaking and rolling, rocking and rolling. Well, if you don't know how to put a video up, and I'm old, but I can walk you through it, and I'll help you get a video up. If you want to say your piece out there, if you're brave enough to do it. I mean, what the heck? We got quite a few on here right now, and everybody's on here is talking. There's nothing wrong with putting your opinion on here. Just be careful of the type of names you use, okay? Have some backing. I mean, I'm looking at something here, and I'm saying, wow. I mean, either he stole that name or he is that person. But some of those pictures look a lot like the pictures he puts up. The other thing is, I noticed on that channel, there is a whole bunch of diaries on there. And they're using AI video or AI mocks of Michelle's voice. And the words that are coming out are not hers, but it's being insinuated of who it comes from. And it's called parody. And this guy puts up a parody on a regular basis. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd call that harassment. Would you? People come on here and they attack, they actually do attack me. And they say, well, don't you know about them? On this side over here, I start laughing because I've never met them, but I've seen people and talked to people that have. And they're just people like you and I. They're just neighbors. Somebody said, well, would you like to have them next door to you? And I said, they're welcome anytime. They are. I'm not afraid of having John and Michelle and that cute daughter of theirs come around. I have the neighbor next to me has a son that's her age, and they would get along great. And he has a whole backyard full of toys. And they would welcome her over there to play with their son anytime. And it's a fenced-in yard. They have a privacy fence around the whole thing. And guess what? Nobody here takes pictures over the top of the fence. You know why? Because we're all welcome to walk in each other's yard anytime, with or without an invitation. We don't put limitations on each other. We trust each other. We like each other. We don't start fights with each other. Do you see me putting somebody else's in this town? Have you ever heard me say something about this town? Have you ever seen me put anything about any town I lived in as far as that's negative? I got along in just about every town. I've been in more towns than that Jeremy ever thought about being in. I used to put lectures on all up and down the East Coast. I used to get paid big dollars for it, even down there in Florida. Used to advertise in the magazines. I mean, I know how to make money. And if I wanted to make money, I could make a lot more than what I make on here. I choose to be retired on a purpose because I want to be retired. I love it being retired. Oh, Lord. It's a good thing. A good thing I wasn't a preacher. And I'd have to explain how come I got so much money. And it would be a lot more than I've got now if I was a preacher. It's the easiest thing in the world is to talk people into sending something to you. Because if there's enough drama and you make it feel bad, people have hearts. And when you prey on them hearts, that's called grifting. Now, the only time I've ever asked you to do anything, I asked you to help out John and Michelle for a good cause. And I think we need to help out the lawyers to whatever extent that they need it, because it's pretty hard to take all these expenses on and still do your job. Our lawyers, they're not my lawyers, but the lawyers, they're trying their hardest on pro bono, are doing it for free. They have other customers that they're having to take care of. And it behooves us to help them whenever we can, if we can, if there's an avenue to do it. And we don't have to explain to anybody why we do anything. There is nothing out there that says we have to. You know, when I look out there, and you know, two leaves in a pod, okay? She takes a beating every single day over money. She hasn't taken a penny for herself out of those that were gifted to help get things built. This is out of the goodness of her heart. She took a cause on, it's only been a few months ago. Lord help. I mean, our gift, us people that are watching, Our entertainment has been able to watch somebody like two leaves in a pod go out there and help a family that needed the help. They need somebody to listen to their story. They need somebody to pat them on the back once in a while, to listen to them, and they needed help getting a fence up for privacy and help get this house built. Do you realize that if it wasn't for something like this coming along so that more people heard about it, they were it's a hole you can't get out of. Every avenue for them to make anything was being cut off. And even trying to go out there to the flea market would have been an impossibility a year ago, I think, because this PO hamstrings you. It is so one-sided, so unfair. How can anybody in another state do that to somebody in the state of Florida? You know, oh, Lord, I know it's not funny. I know it's not funny. And I told you before that sometimes I laugh when I shouldn't because I don't want to cry. But when I look at the devastation that is going on in that little town, a town that shouldn't go through stuff like this. You know, when I woke up this morning, I said, you know, what can be done? I mean, people can get on here and talk a little bit about it. You know, you got channels out there that immediately they go on attack. As soon as you say anything that's negative towards them, they're on attack. They're just, oh, the nerve of those people out there. They like to yell around. And you got that one guy's, oh, that's so bad. Oh, you know that? Oh, yeah. And he does it with a southern accent. Yeah, right. Give me an umbrella, too. Well, maybe I can do that. Throw some y'alls in there with it. Make them feel good. Oh, man, I'll tell you. People have nerve. They're out there raking in some money. They get over here and they get this chat going over here. This like right here. It's right here on the side here. And they say, make that thing roll. Give me some money. I'm going to show you my haircut. I want to go get my hair done. I got to go get my body rubbed down. I'm going to get one of them massages. As if we care what they do. And people, they throw money at that thing. It looks like a one-armed bandit. And you know who's pulling the one-armed bandit, right? That arm on there? All those people out there that have these channels. And they keep asking for more and more money. Is that stupid? No, not really. It's a way of making money. If I tell you what it really is, they'd probably go after me. They know what they are. I don't have to tell them. They know exactly what they are. Oh, man. You know what? I spent a lifetime working. And, and I was out there in construction. I wore every hat, and I sat in the seats, all the way from being an engineer all the way to the top, actually the highest I got was I owned a company. Actually, I owned a couple of companies at one time. But working for big corporations, I got up to vice president of operations, and I was in the umbrella. That's pretty good, and I was pretty young when I did that. But I got tired of the bullshit. And I put my tools on. Now, I loved it. I love building. I built bridges. I've worked on, I've worked on sewer plants, treatment plants, nuclear plants. I've built all kinds of homes and apartments, bridges. I just had a ball out there. My life was interesting. I had no problem working physically. And I had no problem. Well, the worst day I ever had, I guess, working, I was working in a chain plant, if you can imagine, making agricultural equipment. And I opened up the door, and at the time I was a maintenance man. I'm one of those guys that goes out and fixes a machine when it quits and wires up the new equipment coming in or moves it from one place to another. That's what I did there in that plant. And I did that as a full-time work, construction part-time. Anyway, I opened the door up. It was spring, and my heart started jumping. I couldn't stand it. I quit. I quit. Luckily, I was I had construction work going, so I had something to fall back on. I, I wasn't going to go broke, but I just could not stand it inside those walls again. And over the years, even though I've sat behind a desk, I've always been able to get out in the field and do something. Even that last 15 years, being on site, it was an office job more than it was a hands-on job as far as physically building something. But I still liked it, and I still got out every day in every type of weather. These people that are doing this kind of stuff here, they probably never known what it is to really work or how to be around people or how to really know how to be a good person, a good neighbor. Most of them, to me, it's almost like they were an only child and they were a snot, spoiled rotten. And they expect the rest of us to bow down to them. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. If I ever take a visit to Otter Creek or Chiefland, and I'm not saying that I won't, but I can guarantee you one thing, I would have a camera that was decent so I could take videos and pictures. I guarantee you that I would do that. So, all right, let's see what's going on here. It's that part of the time where I take uh, 15, 20 minutes and just look at the chat and we'll talk back and forth. So, Kit Kat, Miyagi, then how can people take you seriously? Uh-oh. Kit Kat says, look what people do with AI. Yeah. I like Miyaga's work. I think it's I think it's really good. I don't know about the rest of you. Most of you probably have seen it. So, Road King, if you can't take them seriously, then don't watch. It's pretty simple. Yeah. German and all his minions need to be stopped. Miyagi, you are right. Who can you trust? And then Strictly Corrugated says, hi all to everybody. Debbie says, LOL, Ray. You know, I don't comment much, but I do watch and cheer. Everyone on praying God intervenes and brings peace for JC and MP and beautiful little HG. Yes, I'm with that 100%. Good interview with Dave, honest and real. Yeah, Bearded, I enjoyed that, by the way. Southwest Michigan is windy and cold. Wow. Usually it's the Northwest. It's really windy and cold up there in Michigan, up there in the yuppers. Is that what they call it? Let's see. We had 2 different hailstorms this morning. That was Jeez Louise says. Bearded says, thank you, Kay. I want to thank Milltowns. That's Bearded. Dave for doing that interview with me. It helped out so much, gave me some strength, and hope Thomas Collin cool ass vid today with John shows light situation and Ray Goat. Okay. Hey, listen, Bearded, I tell you what, I enjoyed the interview, and I actually found out quite a bit about you. And I know you've had a rough road, and I'm glad the good Lord chose to put you back together and has given you a lot better life. So there you go. Shows you what you can do with perseverance. Darwin says he's never known how to be a bad person. Darwin, all you got to do is watch Jeremy. You'll learn real quick how to be a bad person. That's my opinion. Don't want to get any of us in trouble. Darling says, keep going, Ray. Demon Cat says, I love Miyagi. I do too. Eddie Merle says, bravo. Very nice. Same as I in Berkshire County. So I'm dealing with the cold. My car won't start. And I ran out of oil 2 days ago. They won't deliver until tomorrow. So I think I have my hands full. Boy, you do. You absolutely do. Stacy, Kit Kat, some can't show their face due to their jobs or occupations. Some find it easier to say what they need to. They're not being deceiving. It's a privacy thing. I understand it completely, Stacy. I know that not everybody can come on here. Uh, During my working years, I wouldn't have been on YouTube to show myself like we are here. It just wouldn't have worked. Uh, Companies, if they're embarrassed in any way of what you're doing, have the tendency to find a way to eliminate your job. So you're quite correct. When you're working, it's a little hard to come on here and say your piece. Uh, Miyagi, I try as well, but biting my tongue is starting to hurt. That was Road King. Uh, Road King was on my channel today, making some comments on there. I thank you for backing me up, Road King. It's very appreciative. Even police protect their faces and voices for protection of people, and that's true. Some of them they do have to. Uh, they have a pretty hard job sometimes out there. Tammy says Miyagi is awesome. I believe that too. Yoopers is what they call the people in Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Yep, it is. That's cold up there, man. I don't know how they do it, but I know that some of them really like it. I mean, there's a channel of a guy up there, and he grows a lot of his own vegetables and chickens, and seems to make a go of it. So, and he's off. I think he's pretty much off grid. Let's see. Darlene, Lisa is the very one that brought everything to light. Prayers for her and Tori to keep it until this falls. Concerned Planet. Hey, Demon Cat. Yeah, Lisa has worked very hard to keep this thing going. Keep everybody above water. Don't forget Bruce and the other two lawyers that are working very hard to make sure that the balance of scales is equaled out. You know, one thing about this whole thing, boy, I'm getting this way out. Whole ordeal is Jeremy is not one you can walk away from. The only thing that's going to help is going to have to be done by the law. The type of person like that will keep on going. And if it ever happens that he's done with Michelle and John, somebody will be next. And here's the other thing. On my channel today, there's a person on there made a comment that they should just take what money they can and leave. What I'm trying to tell you is, it wouldn't matter where they go, this person will follow them on the media, and they will never know peace until the law makes the peace happen. That's my opinion, and I don't think I'm wrong. I really believe that this thing isn't settled legally, it will never be over. It's that type of the personality will never allow it to stop. That's about as plain as I can put it. Oh, let's see. Uncle Mike, 2 Lees rock. Yes, they do. I'm a true believer. Let's see. Let me back this up a little bit. So true, Ray. And there are people who have lost their jobs for speaking their truths. Yeah, you can't. It's very hard to speak truth and expect to hold your job. It just happens. Most jobs do not want controversy surrounding them because they have to take care of customers. It's like no matter what party you declare yourself, you just made 50% of the people out there your enemy. I like to think that I'm able to think about the person I'm voting for, and regardless of what party they are, and I can tell you, it would be very seldom where I'd vote for one party, because I think both parties have stinkers in them, and both of them have thinkers in them. It's hard to get somebody that's been in there very long that does their job the way we would like them to do it. And anybody says that they're doing it what's best for you, don't vote for them. That person is egotistical. When they say they're doing what's best for you, they're lying. That's a true statement. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about politics. I don't. I have a hard time with politicians. All right, let's go on here. Oh, Road King 2A. None of us did get it straight. Tony. Oh, okay, he was talking to Tony. Says private citizens have reasonable expectations of privacy. We do, and the problem is it's hard to understand all the laws that surround it. And because it's so controversial, that's why it ends up in court so much. You cannot film inside their windows. That's right. You cannot do that. And he's already said that he does. And you cannot do it on a daily basis. And that, when you follow somebody around purposely and do, I mean, you know what the giveaway was on that one I looked at? That there's a column there. And they're obviously hiding behind the column. Tell me that's not stalking. Now, I don't know if YouTube took it down or if that guy took it down, but oh. Now, I told you about this channel up here, right, that I found, okay? You make up your own mind on it. Creative Minds, and by Greaves, GBH Creations. I want you to take a look at it. You tell me what you think. My opinion is mine, but you make up your own mind. I'll just point you in that direction and ask you, what kind of a person do you want in that town out there? Now, because this board has congratulated this guy into their group to be part of the town at their festival, now I've got second thoughts about some more people. It's kind of like today, and let's see, a person on there that said their name was Kenneth. And they started asking questions, and they do it because they're trying to either entrap my thoughts or they're trying to be cutesy or whatever. Now, if you want to see what I said on there, go back to my channel from yesterday and you look how I answered Kenneth. Now, he's gained other people on there that are answering his question as well. And it's not the first time he's come to my channel and tried to be cute on there. And I don't think it's a he, I think it's a she. But there again, that's just an opinion. I think the name there was the father's name. Okay. All right, that's all I got to say about that. Snibbles, even with the temporary order, he didn't stop. He's a whack job. Tony, when they hold a camera up above a fence line, I think not. Know the law. That's right. As far as I'm concerned, when it's done on a regular basis like that, you know what it is. When they hold a camera up above the fence, yep, that's right. Exactly. They have people following them at all times. It is 24/7. They're never off camera. There's always one looking at their property. Doesn't matter where they're coming or going. There's somebody that knows about it. Oh, to Lisa's exactly, Ray. I must have said something right. Lisa, thank you. So sorry about that, Stacy. Uh-oh. What happened? Okay. So many mean and ugly people in this world. Some mean people decided to slash my tires this morning. Even with cameras up, they hid their faces. Can't stand this type of people. Okay, those people are cowards. I've seen that happen before on a job site. And this goes back a lot of years, but there was one of our workers came to work with Toyota, and it was a nice brand new car, or pickup truck rather. And it was all decked out. It was 4-wheel drive. And somebody punctured all 4 tires on his car, on his truck. And the company bought him 4 new tires. I thought it was pretty shitty. And I knew they did it because it wasn't American made. There was a lot of hatred back then about things like that. I personally buy American. And I guess, but I don't expect you or somebody else to do that. It's only what's in your heart individual. So, but I certainly would never ever take somebody's tires and punch them like that. I think that's despicable. Leaving somebody without transportation, that goes back to the old days when they used to steal a horse or kill somebody's horse. Back then, it was a hanging offense. So, okay. Road King, I'm having extra cameras installed in my house as we speak because I'm not taking any chances. You just moved, didn't you, Road King? Okay. Oh my, I'm sorry. That was Stacy. Two Lees says 9. Oh, that's how many cameras are across from Michelle and John, isn't it, Lisa? Stalking behind the column, Ray. Yeah. 9 cameras from town watching them all day. Yes. 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 That's what I say. Yeah. There's no question in my mind they're being stalked. Uncle Mike says, "Why destroy anyone's belongings?" Yeah, whatever happened to Oki, that was wrong under any circumstance. I don't believe in that at all. I just don't, absolutely don't believe in that. Oki, I have 4 cameras up, hoodie and a mask on both people. Yeah, I know it's hard when they do things like that. And I mean, they're true cowards because they covered themselves up. I mean, if they had a problem with you, if they had any balls at all, they would come up and talk to you about it. That kind of stuff is a coward. Absolute cowards do that. Sad part about this whole thing is Germ has done this to people many times, and it seems to get worse for each victim. We know, I want you to think about this. If a person, if you look at history, okay, and I'm just giving you an opinion, but if you look behind a person and their family has distanced herself as far as they can from them, there's something wrong. Now, it's easy for me to say that I married and stayed married, and I've been married all these years, and that's what I believe in. But I do know that people do get married and divorced, and it's because they can't get along for whatever reason it is. And there are times where that happens. But I still believe in marriage to keep two people together. When you're married in the eyes of God, and if you really believe in the vow that you take, and if you really love that person, if the day comes where there's a reason for your divorce, and there can be a lot of reasons, you have to think back. Let's say you're in your 30s or 40s. You have to think back, can you find anybody out there that would be any better than that person that you're leaving? And then you have to look at the good things and the bad things. And, I know a broken heart is the hardest thing to get over. But if you make a rash decision and separate, the day probably will come where you might have wished that you'd have took more time and a deep breath and either gave another chance or maybe behaved yourself before it ever happened. There's consequences when you do something wrong in a marriage. But if you're true partners, you're going to either forgive each other or you're going to work towards common goals that will keep you together forever. So I don't know if I really, I'm not a marriage counselor of any kind. So I don't know how to fix it when it's bad, when what goes wrong. I don't. And I wouldn't even have a right to tell two people they need to stay together. But I don't think the answer is in shacking up and not getting married. It's more than a piece of paper. It is a vow to our Lord that you're going to stay together through sickness or health. And I believe in that vow very explicitly. So for all of you out there that may be suffering some tough times with a spouse, short of physical damage to each other, if there's some other way that you can find to stick together, I would say do it. There are times where there is no repair, and I understand that very well. I don't advise anybody to just shack up and think that it's okay. It's too easy to say goodbye and walk out the door and never look back. You'll have regrets in it, is all I can say. If you trust your partner, you will go ahead and, at least in the eyes of God, ask that person to spend the rest of their life with you. That's all. It's just my opinion, obviously. So, and I know I'm getting way off course here. Sherry, well, see, Beard Imagine, let's see. Oh, yeah. Stacy says, Sherry, that's it. It's not for this protection. It's stalking and harassment, trying to get them to break the PO, which MP and JC have not done. All JH vids are of JH approaching them and harassing. That's correct, Stacy. Bearded Fisherman, Darlene, wow. AG, let's just say, oh, it got way ahead of me. I can't see it now. Oh, there we go. AG Auto Works. Sad thing is, Germ does not discourage his people from attacking people. They believe different for them. He encourages them. Did you ever watch any of Jim Jones things? He used to drone on for hours and hours and hours, and he would say the same thing over and over and over. And that's one way you get people to follow you, is you keep saying it over and over. In the last 4 months, how many times have you heard the same thing repeated over and over and over? And I'm talking about if you put the channels up that are following suit with each other, the echo chamber, how many times have you heard each thing in the spin that is put on it? You remember what I always bring up, the fisherman's lie. He goes out and he catches a fish. It's that big. When he gets home, he caught a fish a lot bigger. Okay? Now, it's truth that he caught a fish. But it's not the truth. It was a great big one. In my mind, the whole thing is a lie. Even though he started out with the truth, he lied and changed it. He spun it. These people are good at spinning, even the documents. It's in black and white. You can read the documents. How can you spin it? They spin it, and people are there going, they swallow it. And they believe it. And it's in black and white what happened. You know, Bruce comes on and puts it in layman's terms the best he can. And I'm sure there's been times where he had to bite his tongue while he's explained to all of us how simple it is to follow through on that. There's very few words that are way out here. And he does everything he can to explain it to us. Thank the Lord for him, because he's really a good man, okay? And I really believe he's probably one of the best things that's happened in here. At least he has put his 2 cents worth in to fight. And the best part of it is his time is valuable. And he's come in here pro bono working. Man, that's asking a lot out of a professional. It really is. Do you think your doctor is going to work pro bono for you? Probably not. But anytime you get a chance to pat Bruce on the back, do it. Please do it, because we need him. We really do. If we believe in everything that we're trying to back up, we need this guy, because we're not going to win without him. Somebody has to be there. They have to be the legal eagle. And I believe that from the very first. And he's helped set it up so there's several others. So let's give him the pat on the back every time he's around. Let's see here. LIO, right. At least I sure hope not, as it's MP and LC and HG that need that PO, not Germ. Stacy, you're correct. The PO, they do need protection of some kind. The protection itself won't, I don't think it's going to protect them 100%, because this thing has got so far out of hand. But at least if we get it into the courts and get this thing pulled to a stop by the main instigator, we can slow it down. I don't know if it's ever going to go away. This thing is going to haunt these Michelle and John and Harley for an awful long time. If it stopped today, it would still haunt them down the line. You can't change this mind-boggling attacks on a regular basis. You're going to have nightmares over it forever. I, I wish there was something that we could do, like a magic wand, to give them so that they can get over the mental anguish that they go through continuously. It is always going to be there. I would like you to step in Michelle's shoes just for a minute and imagine that you're there at the flea market trying to make a few bucks. And every person that comes through there with a camera, you're looking at them trying to figure out what they're up to. Because the camera at this point is a giveaway that says you may end up on YouTube and you don't know what the content's going to be about. All you know is it's probably going to be a lie. It really does break my heart that they can't get through this because of what is being done to them. It's not fair in any sense of the word. I don't know. I guess everybody has to walk in their shoes to understand how they feel. If you can walk in their shoes. John can't even put his hands behind his back without being on video accused of giving somebody the finger. He cannot do something in his own backyard without being attacked. Can you imagine how frustrated he would feel? How frustrated would you feel? Extremely, extremely. It's just not fair. But I think if everybody started carrying a camera, started taking pictures, and started sharing them, maybe things would change. Maybe the truth would get out. Maybe people would see what it feels like. I mean, out there in Chiefland and in Otter Creek, how do you feel about being under the gun all the time? And how do you feel about maybe being the next one? I mean, right off the bat, he went after the neighbors, and he's still after a neighbor. Is he warming up a spot for the next one he's going after? Could be. Could be. And when he talked about a witness to a party over there, was going to come up there and be a witness for him, was that a bald-faced lie? Seems like it. If you tell one, how do you know they're not all lies? I don't know. My opinion is it'd be very hard to even listen to a person like that again, because if they're telling such bald-faced lies, what else are they going to do? I mean, they're getting away with it because they can. Okay, Sherry acts like he'd be terrified of him. He says they need to leave when he's in their presence. Yeah, and he's about wore that out, hasn't he? Especially when he's the one that comes into their presence. They don't go into his. He goes into theirs. Let's see, Miyagi. People are deranged. He'll bent on destroying a family's life, all because of germ. John Caps, where I live, if a person has a PO on another person, and if any one of them breaks it, they are both in trouble for breaking it. And I've never seen a PO any different than that. That's what I've always understood. So I've never really understood that PO that's against John and Michelle. Quite frankly, I haven't seen it. I don't know what the verbiage is on it. I guess if I knew, I could look up to understand it better. I guess, John and Michelle have seen it and they understand it. So, they're doing their very best. They're doing their very best. Let's see. Not very Christian-like. That's that's true. Everyone desperate to be the one to bring them down for their E-daddy's attention and maybe profit from it. Cough, cough, cough. West cough. Snivels. Let's see. Truth. Joy says, truth, Stacy. Miyagi says, snivels. Yep. The bearded Fisherman. Subs needed. Aha. Peace from the Northeast. Okay. Radis admitted to it, Tony. Jeremy and Martha do video and stalk them. Prove otherwise. Helen Highwater. Call after or while at the hospital that shows you were thinking about your safety first and not a lawsuit. That was to Lorraine Meyer. Monica, he hunts them down so he can yell 10 feet, 10 feet. Well, actually, the 10 feet only applies when they're on their property. And I guess it must be public right away, like that road. You know, but when he's in a store or something, I think it's 500 feet is what he yells out. And I think it is 500 feet other than on the property area. Good to know as I live in Stan State. Yes. Florida is a stand your ground. There's a lot of states that stand your ground. I can, by the way, I do have a concealed carry for Florida. So I can carry a weapon down there. Yeah. John Capps. Yeah, that's right. Most places it is that way. If either party breaks the PO, they're both in trouble. And that's the way it should be. Let's see what else we got here. Mary Collins. What did Mary Collins say? Or Marcy Collins. Those are some hateful words. Not cool. What did Marcy say about? Is she up there? I'll back it up. Biggest problem with hateful words is that when we're in a situation like we are right now, sometimes it gets into a rock throwing contest. Who knows? I know I've said some words today I haven't said before, so I'm no virgin when it comes to swearing. Sherry Miller says, I used to watch JH. I left because of him, not John and Michelle, and all the name calling of anyone who disagrees with him. Oh, let's see. Tony, you're way behind in information. Radass openly posted he did it. My wife's doing fine, Frank. Matter of fact, she's doing better. She goes back to the doctor this coming Monday. And then I don't know when the next appointment will be, but she feels good. And that's one of the reasons I'm out here is I don't have to be, I'm not doing the 24-hour day thing right now. She's doing fine. She was taking a nap when I came out here, by the way. She's good. You know, I was so lucky to find somebody like that while I was still in high school. That we've always been together. I can't imagine not being with her. we are truly like one, and we've blended so much over the years. And I think the more you're with somebody, the more you become part of that person. You know, you exchange part of your souls with each other. Let's see. Who else we got on here? Lori says, Tisa, hugs to you. So, and Stacy says, hi, Tisa. I didn't see you come in there. There you are. Hello, Nye. Hugs, my friend. Okay, I see you, Tisa. Let's see. Stacy said, I'm glad she's doing better. Well, I am too. Oh, oh, let's see. Tony, I'm glad you're asking questions and looking for the truth about UT all. May I suggest following also to Lee's channel to learn more enlightenment facts. I want to tell you something about Lisa's channel. She posts the documentation, and whenever she can get an interview with the actual person, she does that. So you really get the real picture. And she does ask for both sides. The fact is that the other side doesn't have a lot of things to be able to back up what they're saying. And there's probably a good reason for it. And I could only give you my opinion on it. And it is, I think there's a lot of BS on the other side. I know that when I go to Lee's, and what brought me to be a fan was it's more than telling the truth. They have done the work to bring the truth. And I'm talking about documentation and the people coming on board willing to talk to them. I don't know how much more I can explain it to you. You know, yesterday somebody come on my channel and said, Ray, you just keep talking, but you don't bring any truth on there. And somewhere back, almost I think 2 or 3 months ago, I said that I had found a channel that is doing that, and that I was going to back off as much as I thought necessary, because it wasn't fair for me to steal their thunder. And I'm not going to steal their thunder. I'm not going to come out here and take subs. That's not what I'm here for. My intent was to help John and Michelle if I could. I found somebody that not only could help them, but they brought the truth out where it's indisputable. It's the real deal. When when you're looking at their channel, they're not BSing, and they have big hearts. It's you just have to listen to it a little bit. Now, a few people have said, "Well, we can't stay on there for 4 or 5 or 6 hours." I understand that completely. The, I guess the reason I do a lot is because as I see more and more people on there, it's kind of like a family getting together with just BSing back and forth. And yeah, most of the time I listen. I'm not a very good typist, and that's why I don't do a lot of typing on here. And but everybody that's on her channel, I think a lot of, because they're very honest, and they all have good hearts. And this fence, when that idea come up, and I watch it blossom, and within a few days, it just started rolling. Uh, uh, I couldn't believe it. And then taking care of the house, it's the next thing on the agenda. Understanding how all that was put together. That it didn't happen just because of Lisa. It happened with Lisa's patrons. Her subs are not subjects. They love her. They come on here because they want the channel. They have the same type of wants that she does, her and Tori. They make a good team. And Kendra puts her 2 cents worth in there too. Every time something comes up, that you can depend on her coming in and saying something. Robbie's there all the time. Robbie's a good person. If you go over there and watch, I get a kick out of watching him get alligators. Him and his son, they're quite the team. I mean, everybody that goes out in his pickup with him, it's a team, and that's what Lisa and Tori, in this instance here, have built a team up that goes in, and she doesn't just do the hard work of gathering it and coordinating it and stuff like that. Hands on. They were over there building that fence. They didn't just say, here's the money, go get it. They were there to help build the fence. And along with that, you build friendships and you build trust. And you know that when somebody asks, well, what'd you do with the funding? And what'd you do with this? And, that was cheap and all that. They weren't watching. They weren't truly watching. People will watch the entire show. Hey, Pebs, I see you're I was wondering how you were doing the other day. I didn't see you, but you just got home. Okay. Uh, but anyway, when you look at her channel, you see a team of people with same heart. They want to get things done, and they're willing to do it. That's the difference. When you go to the channels that are attacking, that's all they're doing is they're very destructive. They want to tear us apart. You and I. Anybody in there that has a good thing to say, they want to tear you apart because you said something good. That's not my DNA. I would rather build something. And I guess that maybe that comes from a construction background, but I think it has to do with how I feel about the Lord. And it always helps us make our decisions in a pinch. When it comes down to shit kicking time, that will carry you. The Lord will lift your burdens off your shoulders. Lifted mine a long time ago. And now it's not that I'm lazy, but I rely on the Lord. I pray and ask him to help me on about everything. He knows I'm around because I'm vocal. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Well, Pebs is thanking Mo. What Mo do? Welcome home, Pebs. Yeah. I'm glad you are home, Pebs. Let's see. Something about bearded. You can do mine. Oh my goodness, 150 pounds of nothing, but fur takes 6 hours from start to finish. Bearded must have done a haircut to his pups, huh? To Lee says, thank you, everyone. Stacy says, we support Lisa, Lee, Tori, Robbie, Ray, Bruce, and many others. All have done great things to bring light to the situation, and Lisa has stepped up to help MP and JC and HG, and that's always a good. Yes, it is. It is good. You know, when you get in the habit of helping somebody out, it grows on you and it grows on your friends. And there's always somebody that could use help. And it makes you feel good. It, it's better. It is absolutely better to build something than tear something down. A rosary a day goes a long way. Yep, you're right, Karen. Lisa's an angel and was put here to help this family. Road King. You know, I think you're right. I do. I think you're right. And I'm glad for Gabe too. Yeah, he takes he takes a few hits once in a while with joking around, but you can tell he's got a good humor, and he always comes in at the right time with something to say. So don't forget Gabe. He's there. He's one that he backs Lisa 100%, and he does it with talk when he gets in there. So, and they pick on him once in a while. Can you imagine that? Says John says every time I watch Two Lees live, I learn so much truth. I have smoke coming out of my ears. Miyagi. Yep, cough. That's only lately. You know, Lisa lately has had a problem with her. She got pretty sick, and she still came on here and did everything she could to talk to everybody without distraction. But she was having a hard time, and she's probably a lot of people out there have told her about everything she can do to take for a bad cough. And I tell you what, if she takes everything they tell her to take, she won't ever have to sit down to breakfast or dinner again. She'll be so full of medicine, there won't be any room. uh, don't forget Gabe. Yep, I didn't forget. I promise you, two Lees, I didn't forget. I did say something. Just a few hits. You mean like sleepwalking? Or how he loves that cheese? You know something? I like cheese too. And I don't know if I sleepwalk or not. I used to talk in my sleep. But I haven't since I've got that sleep apnea, and I have a machine, and that stops me from talking. So, whew, thank the Lord. Let's see here. Uh, Gabe's love. That was from two Lees. Hashtag Gabe's love. Uh, I tried. Oh my goodness, that was two Lees. Hashtag feed the chipmunks. Oh my goodness. Sylvia says happy Thursday, Ray. Thank you. Thank you. You know, before I retired, I always used to look forward to Fridays, but every day is the same when you're retired, pretty much. They're all enjoyable, by the way. When your feet hit the ground and you're still there, you pat yourself on the back and you can feel it when you do it. That's a good day. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, eat more chips on stream, Lisa. That's from Snivels. Oh, says you're all good-hearted people. Darlene said that. Miyagi, love your shorts. Right, they are great. That was to Miyagi. By the way, Miyagi does a great job on interviews too. We're going to figure a good one out here pretty soon, and we're going to let Miyagi have a bigger part this time. I think Miyagi is a lot more popular than I am when it comes to these interviews. He's got that down pat. And Tori, much better now that I'm on the computer. I think they were probably asking how you were feeling, huh? Oh, Dan Foyle, I know the feeling, Ray. I can emphasize I get the same tickle from allergies. My dentist yells at me because I sleep with cough drops in my mouth. Boy, I'll tell you, if I put a cough drop in my mouth, I'd probably breathe it in. I have a bad habit at night. My mouth's open when I sleep, and I snore because of this darn sleep apnea. I used to be a lot heavier than I am now, and that's when I first started having to use that machine. And even though I've taken a lot of weight off, I still have problems where I stop breathing at night because of the collapse, that happens in your throat. But pot 'em up. That's yeah, we did learn something new from Bruce, didn't we? Pot 'em up. Let's see. I love the cowbell. New stuff that was on the phone when I first got here. That's Tori Jones. Kim, I don't know who that is. Momo, got to cut out and dice chicken. See y'all later. Boy, last night, well, day before yesterday, we had some chicken. And last night, the leftover chicken gets cut up, kind of diced up, and whatever's left over of the stuffing, because we always have stuffing with it, and we kind of mix things together, and it makes a meal again. And boy, it's good. It's actually better than when it's separated. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it is. See you later, Mo. All right, let's see. What time is it? 10 after 4. I'll go 10 more minutes, and then I think I'll call it. So if you have something to say, let's go ahead and get it out here. Today the reason I was on here is because of the line difference between harassment and First Amendment. And, this privacy stuff, it's wrong for people to chase you and the things that are going on out there in Chiefland and Otter Creek. It's pretty bad when you chase somebody from one city to another. That's bad, really bad. But in your own town, if I leave you with anything, I want you to imagine a half a dozen streets in a town, maybe a little more. And you can't walk down the street. Not because of safety, but because somebody has a PO on you and you know they're going to be breathing down your neck, yelling 10 feet, 10 feet, 10 feet. When Jeremy did that to John, he had a walker. He just trying to recover from a knee operation. And there's a ditch next to him, right? Or a gully, small one. I want you to imagine trying to get away from that truck. And he pulls over to that side of the road. What do? You can't run. Yeah, be careful if you go down that ditch. If you go down, you might not be able to get up. I don't know what would happen if Michelle hadn't been back behind him trying to give him instructions. Yeah, and the judge, as far as I know, found in favor of Jeremy on that. I don't know how, but it happened. And now it's happening in other towns. I guess, let me ask you this. When I get off from here, there's still comment section below. Where do you think Michelle and John can go anywhere in that town where they won't be pursued? It's a real question. I'd like to know. Is there somewhere in town that is safe for that family? It's not just John and Michelle. It is a family, a real family. What if you lived in a town like that and you could not go out your door? I'd like to know. I've got a comment section down there. And when this thing's over with, where you can put comments on there, I honestly want to know if you can think of a place where it's safe for that family in that town. And maybe you've got some ideas what could really be done. I think it's time for everybody to get their camera out. That's what I feel. What's good for the gander is good for the goose. Yeah. That's just an opinion. But I don't know of any other thing to do. I'm saying, hey, they like to take pictures, take pictures. But the second they hit the public stratus, get the flash bulbs going. Yeah. All right. Okay. Oh, Miyagi, looking forward to it, Ray. Bearded all set. The dogs got their baths and even used a hair dryer. Man, my pit bull is still afraid of the Chihuahua. Serenity loves it. Next time I'll video it. That sounds pretty good. Do that, Bearded. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Lisa is singing again. You know how I know? Because she said, "Pot him up, pot him up, pot him up, pot him up." Oh, let's see. Oh, hey, Lisa, no kidding. Now, I would like to hear you sing sometime. And there is a person out there that has your voice, and I'm going to go look and see what the song. There's a song out there this person sings. This goes back quite a ways, back into the 70s and 80s. But I am going to, next time on there, or if I'm on your channel coming up, I'll put the song on there and you see if you can sing it. But you have the voice for it. I know you can sing, and I think your voice is the same as this singer that used to be very famous back in the 70s and 80s. And matter of fact, this person sings my favorite song. My wife, Her birthday is February. She's an Aquarius. And my favorite song back in those days was Aquarius. And this group is a favorite group of mine. But I'm just gonna put the song on there, and you tell me if you can sing it or not. But we'll talk it over later. Oh, let's see what we got here. What we're getting down there. Two says okay. All right. You know what group I'm talking about, don't you, Lisa? They were pretty well known back then, and still one of my favorites. So, says Two has been challenged by Miyagi. Oh boy, I loved to sing years ago, and I always did the songs from 30s all the way up into about the 70s and 80s, and then I kind of backed off. My voice uh, changed quite a bit. Part of my problem was the steroids I had to take. I inhaled steroids for my COPD, and I kept getting strep throat, and it affected my vocal cords. And so I can get away with one or two songs once in a while, but after a little bit, they get so scratchy, I can't even talk, not even trying to sing. So I do like Age of Aquarius, and they did sing that, but that's not the song I want you to sing. I've got another one I want you to try. Oh, let's see. Aquarius is my favorite that they sing, though. Like I say, my wife is Aquarius. She was born in February the 2nd. And I've always loved that group. They are tremendous singers as a group. They don't even need music in the background. And I think the last time that I seen them on an interview, I'm trying to think how long ago it was, but it's been a while. Yeah, I love that song. There's a different one I'm going to have you sing. I listen to Aquarius all the time, the song itself. John says, thank you for helping us out. Yep. John, I wish I could do more. I really do. If I was younger, I would do more. And I'm going to tell you something, John. If I was younger, I would come down and I had to do everything I could to make it safe so that you could walk down the street, go to the post office, and go to the grocery store without being accosted. Fifth Dimensions is the name. That's correct, Bernadette. Related birthday to your wife. Yeah. It was kind of, her birthday came at, the time when she was having to have all this work done. So she's had to tough it out this year. Forever away, in a way. Lisa sings that. Okay. Oh, Age of Aquarius. I love that song. But if you could sing that one, I'd be extremely happy. But there's another one I like too. So I like that one too. Oh, Wedding Bell Blues. I like that one. Peb says, Lisa, I have a lower voice than yours and I can sing it. Well, Pebs, we got to get you on there so we can listen to you too. Like I say, that group is one of my favorites, all-time favorites. And every time I get a chance, I listen to them sing. Sometimes they're kind of an inspiration. So when I decide to get on and do some things, on another channel I've got out there that I get on, I've got, I think, a couple thousand songs on there over the years. They're not that great. I'm one of those singers. I can do a few songs decent, but I'm not a good singer. And a good singer can sing anything and make it sound good. They really can. A friend of mine, I don't know if you guys know this guy, but his name was Lawrence, and he sang in the Cowboy Church out there in Oakland almost every Sunday after he retired. He used to be an opener for a lot of country singers, years ago, and we had become friends on another channel. And I did sing a duet with him a lot of years ago, and I lost the darn thing somewhere on my computer, and I'm not sure if I deleted it by accident or what. But he died a few years ago, and I when he did, all his songs were taken off except for the ones from the Cowboy Church out there in California. But anyway, let's see. Top band. Okay. All right. Listen, you don't have to be a star, baby. Let's see. I think just for the heck of it, and I'm glad all of you stuck with me this long. I ran over what I should, and I want you all to be able to get out there and fix your supper and have a good time. And thanks for being a part to this live today. And Marilyn McCoo, she is one of my most favorite singers. Yes. And your voice, you remind me of Marilyn McCoo. I've never seen you, Lise, other than being flashed on the screen up there. But you have that voice and inflections of that voice in her songs that she sings. And I think if you listen to her, you'll agree with me. Marilyn McCoo is very distinct in the way she carries her vocals. So, and I mean that as a compliment, Lisa. So, by the way, I've met a lot of singers. I really have. I've talked to a lot of singers back in the day. Back in the 60s, 50s, 60s. I wasn't a hanger-oner to bands or anything like that, but back then you could get up and talk to people when they were on stage. I did get to sit twice just off stage with Chubby Checker at a nightclub. That was a long time ago. And I can tell you, being there in person and watching him sing, you know how dynamic it feels, like his voice coming out of his lungs? He does not need a microphone. He has that volume. He can take the microphone away and you can hear him throughout the entire place. This nightclub was pretty good sized, and he could do that. And he was one of my favorite singers back then too. He puts on quite a show, by the way, for a big guy. And I seen him after he lost a lot of his weight, but for a big guy, he can move around. Then Brittany, I met her. I got to talk to her and her new husband. I met him right after she got married. My wife and I got married about the same time, by the way. Let's see. Trying to think. You remember who wears short shorts? Well, you probably don't remember that song. But anyway, I got to meet the girl that sang that. Her name was Raylene, believe it or not. But there were several of them that sang it over the years. But I met the original. Let's see. Who else? Oh, Wanda Jackson. I got to sit and talk to her during a break one time. And oh, heck. Like I say, I loved that stuff when I was young. And I still do today to a certain extent. When you get older, one of the last few things you remember is, music. It's just a part of your body. Everything is music. The wind, walking up and down the steps, the tap, tap, tap. It's only been in the last 15 years or so that I stopped tapping my foot to the beat of the song. When you play an instrument, you beat your foot will tap, boom, 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 boom. You're keeping time, and it's only been, like I say, maybe the last 10 or 15 years that I've stopped doing that. You know, when you first start out, it's going tick tock, tick tock. But anybody that has went through some of that stuff, they know what I'm talking about. It's there, and it's there forever. It'll always be there. You always feel it and hear it. Oh, all right. Well, everybody out there, thank you again, and I'll see you later. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and we'll see you at Lisa's, maybe. See you later.